The pistol pressed cold and unyielding to the side of Thora Brenvik's head. Muscle memory took over before panic could. Breath slowed, vision narrowed, every sound sharpened into a single, manageable thread. Commander Reeves' finger trembled at the trigger. He believed the weight of his rank and the steel at her temple would erase the evidence Thora had found. The missing night vision sets, the altered manifests, the gear vanishing into a network of contractors. He believed he could intimidate a woman who wore the trident on her chest into silence. He believed wrong. The warehouse smelled of diesel, rust, and the kind of bleach that pretends to hide things. Fluorescent lights hummed and threw harsh shadows across pallets of gear that were not supposed to be there. Outside, the Pacific whispered against the shore where Thora had learned to survive in seas that took her father and nearly took her brother. She felt the metal of the M17 against the curve of her skull and thought of those long, cold hours when the only thing between her and death had been stubbornness and breath. Commander Reeves had never seen combat. His hands were too soft for violence that meant something. Thora had carried 100-pound loads through Afghan ranges, dragged wounded men under fire, and watched the pointmen go down while the world narrowed to one mission: keep moving. She had been rolled back for stress fractures, taped her legs, and kept running. She had been one of the early women to earn the trident when combat billets opened, and the insignia had never been a decoration to wear lightly, it was a ledger of every test she'd survived. "You're done," Reeves said, voice trying for authority and landing in desperation. "Sign a statement admitting you were mistaken. Request a transfer. Walk away." Thora counted his respirations. She listened for the engine note of vehicles on the access road the way a sniper reads wind. She felt the earpiece tucked beneath her uniform, the wire taped to her ribs. Special Agent Morales' whisper was a ghost only she could hear: "Keep him talking. We're live. Don't do anything reckless." Reeves tried to use the one thing he thought would hurt: family. "Your brother died in Afghanistan," he said, words sharpened like knives. "Your father drowned in the Bering Sea. Do you want your mother to lose you too? Training accidents happen all the time." Threats about duty and death failed to pierce Thora where they aimed. Her father's voice was older and truer than Reeves' cowardly hiss. He had taught her resilience by example. When the boat flipped and cold ate the light, she had held her brother until the Coast Guard cut them out. Her father had been gone. She had not been broken. She had joined the Navy not for glory but for structure, to channel grief into purpose, and the trident had been carved from that purpose. 3 weeks earlier the trail had started as a whisper on paper. 30% of specialty gear marked as training loss. Night vision devices walked away like ghosts. Plate carriers, sniper platforms, weapons. As assistant supply officer, a duty nobody wanted, Thora reconciled manifests and followed threads until they led to Warehouse 7 and a face she recognized from base rosters: Commander Reeves, who smiled for ceremonies and hid ledgers for profit. She reported it up the chain, she documented everything. Senior Chief Cord told her to do it right. She did. When she brought it to Reeves, his face flashed through recognition, fear, and then that slow calculation men make when they realize the risk to their scheme. "Petty officer, this investigation ends now," he'd said then, as if rank could erase theft. He reassigned her to admin, to bury her. She'd refused. He'd called her after hours to a classified briefing. He'd pointed a pistol at her head. Reeves expected the fear to break her. He expected to watch the woman in dress blues sign away the outrage and the evidence. He never expected her hand to move like a blade. The first motion was subtle, a sweep, a trap. Years of CQB training had taught Thora how to convert stillness into thunder. Her left hand snatched the commander's wrist. Her right elbow drove up into his ribcage. The M17 cracked, a deaf, hollow sound against concrete as the muzzle kissed the ceiling. Momentum betrayed Reeves. He tipped, skull meeting floor. The pistol skittered out of reach. 2 contractors lunged, unnatural and practiced, but Thora moved like the force she was. She drove a knee into one man's groin, followed with an elbow that found his jaw. The second reached for a Glock. She stepped into him, found leverage, and broke his thumb with a twist that left him howling and useless. Both men hit the ground in seconds, precise, deadly ballet done without flourish. Master-at-Arms burst through the warehouse doors, a tide of camo and badges. NCIS agents poured in behind them, weapons up, voices snapping orders into the humid air. Senior Chief Cord entered like a weather front, expression a mix of pride and relief. Thora let her hands rise slowly, the M17 now unloaded and cleared, the wire from her chest visible as she pulled aside her shirt to reveal the recorder. Special Agent Morales authorized this controlled operation 3 days ago, she said, calm as a report. You just made it easier, Commander. They cuffed Reeves while he still sputtered disbelief. The contractors coughed up their connections on the way to confinement. The manifest trail showed a $3 million siphon that flowed through the warehouse, shipping ports in Southeast Asia, and private hands that turned military necessity into black market profit. Fleet Commander Reeves faced a general court-martial. Convictions followed, confinement, forfeiture, the end of a commission once respected, now a footnote in a ledger. Thora received medals and letters, but more than ribbons, she got a note from a mother whose son had died in a raid when night vision had been missing. The letter said one thing with the kind of gratitude that settles like warm sun on old wounds: thank you. No one could return the dead, but justice kept others from joining them. Years later, as a senior chief petty officer instructing candidates at Naval Special Warfare Center, Thora used that night as a lesson. She taught technique and timing, yes, but she told the cadets about courage framed by responsibility, the kind that doesn't seek glory but answers duty. Young women listened, some trembling with fear, others burning with the same resolve that had driven her from Kodiak to Coronado. She kept on her desk a photo of the Trident ceremony, her mother's weathered hands fastening the pin, a folded flag from her brother's coffin, and her father's compass, worn from sea and salt. They were talismans of what she guarded: honor, memory, and the promise that corrupt men would not profit from the tools meant to keep others alive. The Trident had not made her invincible. It had made her accountable. Threats meant nothing to someone who had already stared at the sea and kept breathing. Threats from a man who had never felt the ground shake under mortar fire were empty. In the end, it was discipline and preparation that won. The training that made resistance reflex, the patience to record, the courage to involve NCIS, and the willingness to stand in a warehouse and take danger on her terms. When cadets ask which is harder, the training, the deployments, or the moral choices, she answers without hesitation. It's the choices. The rest you survive. The choices decide who you become. And when a commander thinks a gun and a title can rewrite truth, a SEAL remembers what she learned in ice and surf. The strongest steel goes through the hottest fire, and the only thing that breaks it is betrayal.